Hey everyone, we have no countdown timer anymore. So I just have to come on and start cold. Hey, this is Nights with Ping for a Sunday night. Well, not Sunday night, it's Sunday night here in Australia, but Saturday night for you. So it can be Sunday or Saturday, depending on what you want or where you live. Marilyn, hey, I saw in the chat you said you're out. Oh, you're gone out. All right, have fun. We're going to sit here and talk about true crime for about an hour and a half. How are you, Angela DJ? Who else is here? Marilyn was here. She says, I'm out tonight. Laurie's here. Jojo, Moonlight View, Nanalana. Good to see you all. I was up at like 3:30 in the morning Australian time watching Judge Boyce do the hearing for Chad Daybell. Was really interesting. It was I was listening to that four-person readout, the charges, and then they kept saying it wouldn't be unjust. It wouldn't be unjust. It wouldn't be unjust. And I was like, wait, how many have we got? And it was like we're up to number 5, and I was like, holy crap! If they get every single one of these, we might actually get it. And I was like, no way. There's going to be one here that they're going to find it would be, wrong to sentence him to death. Nope, every single one, no problems, came through, and he is now Chad Daybell has been sentenced to death. Although I did hear in some post trial commentary that this could play out over possibly a decade of appeals and things like that, before he's ever seriously put to death. So at least this part of it is over. He is convicted. He is, you know, they don't have to go back to trial, hopefully, and it's done. Yeah, finally over. It's been what, 5 years? When did we start on this journey? It was, yeah, like 5 years ago. It's a long time. It's been a long time for that family too. Lynn D, hey, how are you? GJH, good to have you here. Yeah, so that's probably about all I'm going to talk about Chad tonight. LMS, hey, how are you? I hope you're having a better week this week, LMS. I really do. Sorry to hear about your job. That's terrible. Yeah, me too. The only thing I have a confliction with, and this is about the only difference I have between the trials, and then I'll get the camera on, I'll get some stories up, I'll comment on this and then we'll get going. I find it somewhat unfair that Chad got the death penalty and Laurie never had to face that punishment. And for me, I find that somewhat unbalanced, and I don't know how to rectify that with myself when I'm thinking about the case, because if anything, they're equally responsible, if not more. They both killed people. They're her children. Him, it was his wife, and then his new lover's children. So I don't know. I feel like it's they were part of the enterprise together, and that's the way I see it. They were all part of this bloody dark spirits and the zombies all in the one thing. Nana says, I feel bad for the families. I'm happy that they might be able to get a tiny bit of peace for a little while. I don't know how long that'll last. We'll see. One more time, Raccoon Gate. Oh my god. The funny fact is that they never found a raccoon. I think tells you everything. They never found any remains of a raccoon. It says everything. All right, that's enough Chad Daybell. I think everyone's had enough for today. I have, but it was a cool hearing to stay up 3:30 a.m. in the morning Australian time and watch. I know that who was it? It was Mr. Nate Eaton put out the tweet, and he was like, "We have a verdict," and then everyone was rushing to the live stream. It'll be done at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. If Alex was alive, yeah, you can't convict dead people. They're dead. So he's he's a non-starter. More like 20 years. Yeah, could be a long time before we ever see anything eventuate for him. So he's going to be sitting around for a while. Probably test a bunch of parts of his trial. as he's entitled to, I guess, under the law, which sucks because it probably pushes people back into court, but whatever. I thought the prosecution did a great job. I really love that. I always forget her name, but the prosecution woman, she's just such a firecracker. She doesn't let Pryor get away with anything. She's just like, nope. And every time you bring something up, she just comes back and she's like, nope, this is that. She really knew that case inside and out. He'll be in a cage. Well, luckily for that. He probably will be, yeah. I think they said he gets 1 hour of exercise every day. Same with the Long Island serial killer, Rex Heuermann. Rex Heuermann is in protective custody as well. He only gets 1 hour outside of his cell every day. And apparently all he does is he goes into the yard and he walks around the outside of the yard. That's all he does. He doesn't play basketball. He doesn't go to the weight room. He just sort of goes for a bit of a stroll around the outside of the, you know, rec area. So that's it. Lindsay Blake, that's her name. Thank you. Why do I always forget her name? She's amazing. I thought she really proved her worth during the trial. Amazing. So it's been great to see so many strong female prosecutors and lawyers throughout a bunch of different trials in the last like 3-4 years. There was another one that we all liked. There was, just great. I love seeing it. A shuffle, as it were. A shuffle. All right, we better get the camera on. Come on. Can't just keep chatting. Or we could. And sorry I was a couple minutes late. I got caught up watching a live set from Electric Daisy Carnival in Las Vegas. And I was watching Dom Dollar play his set in Las Vegas, which was a good set. All right. We've got a few stories here tonight. Who's telling me about Downey? All right, here we go. Hold on, guys. My links are gone a bit mental. There we go. All right, let's get set up. Hey guys, how are you? I am here. I'm alive, I promise. Missing his pizza? Maybe. Wouldn't it be funny, like, he may get known in prison under the code word pizza if he ever gets convicted. I think that'd be pretty funny. Yeah, she's amazing. Every time she spoke, I was mesmerized. I was like, what is she gonna say next? Who is she gonna tear down in this moment? She was great. What was it? Was it the rebuttal she had on Friday, Thursday? She got to do a rebuttal to the prosecution, the defense's closing argument, and her rebuttal was just so on point. She was just like, "Don't listen to their crap. They're telling lies. This is the truth, and I'm going to show it to you under sex, lies, and power, or whatever." She was amazing. It's great to see strong women not be scared of anyone and just do their job. It's great. All right, let's listen to this. It says, ex-officer sentenced for 2020 murders of wife and stepdaughter. We never want to hear that, but hey, I guess. He will spend over 100 years in prison for the murders of his wife and his stepdaughter. How do you spend over 100 years in prison? Is he a vampire? I don't know. But apparently he may spend over 100 years in prison. Let's watch the little video for it and then we'll talk about it.
Former Henrico police officer to more than 100 years behind bars. In July 2022, Richard Crowder shot and killed his wife and stepdaughter, and he also is convicted of attempting to kill fellow officers. Jennifer Blake is on your side at 6. I know, Jennifer, you have been speaking with family members. What are they saying after this verdict?
Yeah, Jasmine, many of them saying that Richard Crowder deserves this sentence. The judge adding that no amount of time she could give him would restore what he has taken.
We were hoping for at least 70 years. We got 150, so he will die there. and he deserves to for what he's done to our family.
It's really good to see that he will be in prison for the rest of his life.
Nearly 2 years after Diane Crowder and Carrie Sachs were killed, justice for their deaths is now served. Richard Crowder, a former K-9 unit officer with Henrico County, killing his wife and stepdaughter on July 2nd, 2022. When officers arrived, Crowder began shooting at them. He will spend 50 years behind bars for each of their deaths and 2 25-year sentences for the attempted murder on law enforcement. The victims' families saying they're relieved at the judge's decision, but say it won't bring either Diane nor Carrie back.
Her daughter grew up with my daughters. They were like sisters.
The judge giving Crowder a chance to speak for himself. He turned to the victim's family in the courtroom, cried, and apologized, but the family isn't accepting it.
Honestly, I don't think those were real tears. I don't think he has any remorse for what he did.
You know, I'm human. So part of me for a second was like, I felt bad, but then I'm like, you know, he knew what he was doing. He's been
I find that interesting. We see that a lot in court cases where these perpetrators break down in court and they start crying, and then the instant you think it's like, should we be giving sympathy, or is it more the fact they're just sad that they're caught and that they're going to go to jail and that their life is over? They're not sad about what they actually committed. They're sad about what they're losing. And like she says, for a second, I was a little like, sympathetic. And then I was like, wait, hold on. He killed our family and he knew exactly what he was doing. So, yeah, I see it too in the court cases. It was funny. An Australian judge not long ago basically told an offender to shut up. She was like, hey, no crocodile tears in my court. You ain't going to cry here. You've been like steadfast, arrogant throughout the entire trial. Don't you start crying during judgment. Like, I don't want to hear it. It was pretty funny. And she was like, stop wailing. So I think that's a good point for future cases that unless you're remorseful from the start, even during your sentencing, you should probably shut up. The judge is not going to take it into account. They're not going to think that you're somehow magically sympathetic or you feel bad for your crimes on the last day of trial or whatever. They just think you're sad because you're about to be sentenced for the rest of your natural life to a jail cell. So they see right through it.
wanting to do this to her for so long. He abused her for a very long time.
Another part of his sentencing, he cannot have any contact with the victim's family, which includes his son with Diane. Crowder must also pay restitution, nearly $10,000 to the Commonwealth and over $1,500 to Henrico County. He has 5 years to pay all of that.
I'm just glad it's over. I just wish that now we could go home and they'd be there.
Now, I did try to speak to Crowder's sons and family who were here at court to support him, but they were not willing to talk. Live in Henrico, Jennifer Blake, 12 on your side.
Now, you can understand why they're not willing to talk. It'll be interesting to see whether Chad's children, what they do from this point on, now that their dad is convicted, convicted killer basically, and convicted to death. So it'll be interesting to see if they ever change their tune. Angela says, how can someone in jail pay? Yeah, I find that interesting. He has 5 years to pay back, what, 10 grand? Maybe they can take it from things like he was a police officer, right? So he would have something like a pension with the police department. Wouldn't that be able to pay it off? Like he'd be able to access that through the court and get a release for restitution or something like that, or assets they can sell. Because in 5 years he ain't gonna earn nothing in the jail or the prison. They make like 40 cents a week or something. It's nothing. So there's no way he can pay off 10 grand in jail. James and Alina. Oh my god, don't bring that up. What did Danny say? Let me see. If you've never seen Fear of 13, I recommend it. I have not, but I will. That's who I was thinking of. It's that lady from the Johnny Depp trial. She was very, very good. Very good. I don't know, but I'm guessing maybe restitution to your victims may be able to overcome like losing certain things because of crime or something. There's probably some sort of statue there where the victims get first maybe first jab at it. I'm not sure, but it's interesting. What happens if he doesn't pay it in 5 years? What happens? Do they just go, "Oh, you've been a bad boy. You are in jail for 100 to 150 years. Don't make us sentence you to 200 years. We'll do it. You better pay that 10 grand." Like, what is he, a vampire? He's not gonna live 150 years. He's already what, 60? What was he? How old was this guy? Richard Crowder. How old is he? Doesn't give me an age. Let's see how old he was. Whatever age he was, he's not gonna he's not gonna live over 150 years. It's like almost impossible. Let's see. His wife was 53. His stepdaughter was 35. It doesn't say how old he was though. Okay. His middle name is Colin. It says a lot. Here, I'll put it on the screen. Sorry for people that have that last name. It's a bad joke, but this is his full name right here. Mr. Colin. Is that the name? Is that the nickname they're going to give him in prison, Mr. Colin? They might. They might. It says here. On Saturday, July 2nd, 2022, Diane was leaving her husband and moving out of their home. Hired movers and her family, including her daughter, were helping her move on the day. During the move, while the moving employees were upstairs, Crowder shot Diane, far out, Diane and his stepdaughter, Carrie, who were outside of the house multiple times, killing them. After police arrived, he barricaded himself inside the home and fired shots at officers who were responding to the incident. During the sentencing hearing, family members gave testimonies on the damage done to their family after the deaths of Diane and Carrie. The judge described the case as one that the court will never forget. She said Crowder betrayed his oath to protect the community as well as the vow to protect his wife. Yeah, it really is the ultimate sin, right? One, going against the badge that you vowed to protect your community and the people within it to be a pillar of society, but also the one at home, which is, even though you guys are breaking up, even though it's a difficult situation, there's no need to kill them. How many times on this channel have we said so many of these things could be avoided if people could just grow up a little bit and walk the F away? It's not that hard. Just walk away. It's now you have to spend 70 to 150 years in prison. Like, was it worth it? Was it? And I'm guessing you're going to say no. Maybe in the heat of the moment for 30 seconds, you're like, yeah, look at what a cool guy I was. I had a gun and I killed people. But now you just went through like a real traumatic court case where the entire town heard all your dirty laundry about everything you've ever done because they dug into your life, like, dug up everything about you. And now you're going to go spend the rest of your natural born life in prison. So if there's one lesson everyone can learn from true crime, it's just walk away in these situations. It doesn't make it better for anyone. Not you, not the other person, not your loved ones, not your family. No one wins. It's just stupid. I think eventually, hopefully, people will learn. No, they won't. I mean, we've been doing this for what? Since the dawn of civilization, people have been killing other people in rage and probably domestic violence. They probably didn't call it that back then. So no, people won't learn. It'll still happen. Yeah. What a sad case. She was literally leaving the home at the time she was killed. Let's see if I can find anything else about her. So he retired in 2014. So he would have already been on his pension at the time of the shooting. The shooting took place in July 2024. means he was already on his pension probably for about 8 years. So maybe there's money left in it. Since they were already paying it out, it means it's probably already been approved. If it was sitting static in an account somewhere, maybe that would be different, but I don't know. Maybe he can pay it out of that. Says here, his 3 sentences will run consecutively. It was yeah, the family were hoping for at least 70 years. They got 150. He'll die there. He deserves it for what he did to the family. I think that's the creepiest part of it. The fact she was in the middle of moving out and she had movers in the home and he just couldn't control his emotions. Oh my God, my life is falling apart. And the woman that I loved at some point, I'm going to shoot her because I'm so angry that she doesn't want me anymore. It says, and then he barricaded himself inside. Like, it's the last act of a coward, isn't it? To barricade themselves inside after they did something wrong. Every time it's not because of anyone else. It's mostly because they've done something. All right. Yeah, here, down the end here, it says, honestly, I don't think those were real tears. I don't think he has any remorse for what he did. After seeing him at several court dates, he doesn't seem like he really cares. And for him to sit there and look at us and cry and apologize, I mean, maybe he does feel bad about it, but it doesn't bring them back. It doesn't matter. That was a distant cousin to the people who were killed. She's right. I think it's more he's upset that he knows he won't get away with it. That's all. I don't think it's anything about, feeling bad or whatever. Don't think they actually feel bad. A lot of cops are DV. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. He'll keep getting the pension in prison? Jeez. Then he should have to pay if they're gonna pay that out, he should be able to give that to them as as restitution. Alright, there's one. Yeah, someone brought up a little earlier about the treadmill, the little boy who was killed after his dad made him do all these kind of what would you call it? Like, I would just call it abuse, but he was like, "It's to make him a man." He got him on the treadmill and then he beat him up a lot, and the poor kid died from just horrific internal injuries and not being taken to medical center to be treated for those injuries. He died from the result of no medical intervention. I did see that come through. I think everyone was so focused on, you know, the daybell trial that it sort of flew under the radar a little bit. Let me grab it for you. I did have a link for it. Hold on. One moment. I'm just trying to find my link for it. Hey James, how are you? A lot of cops are what? Some people are saying GJH said a lot of cops are involved in DV, which would not surprise me. I think DV it permeates through society, through every layer of society. It doesn't matter what part of it is. It's doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a cop, a politician, whatever. Pick a high standing member of society that you like. A sports star, I don't know, a judge, whatever. It's everywhere. But yeah, I did see here. Where is it? Here, Yahoo. It was a couple of days ago. It says treadmill abuse dad found guilty of manslaughter in son's death. It says a father was found guilty of manslaughter Friday for the 2021 death of his son, whom he filmed on surveillance camera footage, forced to run on high-speed treadmill despite the boy falling over repeatedly. Following a 4-week trial, a jury in Ocean County, New Jersey, passed on a more serious murder charge, but found that Christopher Greger, 31, was guilty of both aggravated manslaughter and child endangerment. He could face up to 30 years in prison. I don't want to read too much more than that about it. It really bothers me, this case, and that's why I haven't been covering it that much. there's some aspects of it that I don't feel comfortable with myself. So I'm going to give you that. That's the headline, and then we're going to talk about something else. It's a horrible case. It really is. Some of the details are just freaking horrific. Really, really hard to hear, and they're just awful. That little boy should never have died, and that guy, I'm surprised they passed on the murder charge. That's disappointing. I thought personally, I thought there was enough evidence to get it across the line as a more serious charge, but hey, we have to respect what the jury, they heard all the evidence. They heard all this stuff that we didn't hear. It's, it's up to them. So have to respect them. All right. I have a better story that doesn't involve a child. If I can bring it up. It does actually involve a child. Ping, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to find it for you. Don't know why it keeps giving me a Canadian news source for it, but sure, we can do Yahoo Canada. All right, here it says registered sex offender suspected in the death of Maryland parole officer. Arrested in West Virginia. A registered sex offender wanted in the death of a parole officer whose body was found in the man's apartment in Chevy Chase. Is that how you pronounce that? Was arrested Saturday in West Virginia. Emmanuel Edward Sewell is suspected in the killing of 33-year-old Davis Martinez. Montgomery County Police said in a statement, it says Sewell, 54, was traveling on Interstate 64 near Hurricane, West Virginia, when officers with the U.S. Marshal Service Fugitive Task Force conducted a traffic stop and arrested him. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear there. That was a bit of a brain fade there. Martinez's body was discovered Friday after he went to conduct a check on Sewell, who was released from prison in 2021. It wasn't immediately known if Sewell had an attorney who could comment for him. Montgomery County Police did not immediately respond to an email message from the Associated Press. Officers went to his apartment after Martinez did not report back to work and found his body inside. Why would he kill his parole officer? According to police, Martinez suffered multiple undisclosed injuries and his death was ruled a homicide, according to the police statement. Martinez was a 6-year employee of the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. Governor Wes Moore ordered the Maryland flag to fly at half-mast until Martinez's burial. That's very nice, isn't it? I mean, I guess he was a public servant, worked for the state, and that's, it's a kind thing to do for a person who dedicated their life to protecting, in their way, being a parole officer, the state. So that's a nice sign of respect for them. It says Agent Martinez served with distinction and our state is safer because of him, Moore said in a statement. Our entire state grieves his loss along with those he held dear. Sewell was not home when officers arrived. A warrant was issued on a second-degree murder charge for the arrest of him, who was believed to have Martinez's badge. Okay, so they're saying he also pinched his parole officer badge. Why? According to court records, Sewell was sentenced in Montgomery County in 1997 to 20 years in prison for a first-degree sex offense charge, 10 years for armed robbery, 5 years for burglary. Police said Sewell is a registered sex offender. So why did he kill the parole officer? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Hold on. Emmanuel Edward Sewell. Let's have a look. Fox 5 DC. Let's see what they have to say. Let's see.
Start in Chevy Chase, where a Maryland parole officer was killed while on duty. The suspect, considered armed and dangerous, is now on the run. Fox 5's Lily Zhang is live on scene with the very latest. And Lily, what can you tell us about him?
Hey, Sierra, good evening to you. We just wrapped up a press conference with the Montgomery County Police Department. They have confirmed that the victim in this case is Agent Davis Martinez. He was 33 years old. He was with the Department of Corrections for 6 years. So let's back it up to what we know so far. The man that police are currently looking for, he has been identified as Emmanuel Sewell. We're told that he's 54 years old. They say that he's a registered sex offender, and he was at his Chevy Chase apartment when this agent apparently came by yesterday to check on him. Now, the reason why officers responded to that Chevy Chase apartment is because apparently this agent did not show back up to work after checking on the suspect in this case. Now, that was around 6 o'clock yesterday evening. So officers stopped by this apartment to do a welfare check for this agent. They did find his car at this apartment, but they did not find him until they went inside of Sewell's apartment, and that is where they found this agent. Unfortunately, he was declared deceased on the scene. They did not find Sewell at this scene yesterday, and that's where all of this really started. We also just heard from the chief from Montgomery County Police. Here's what he had to say.
Law enforcement officers put their lives on the line every day to ensure the safety of our community. And the death of Agent Martinez is a stark reminder of the dangers we face every day.
Now, the chief says that the suspect in this case, he's being charged with second-degree murder. He is believed to be driving a gray 2017 Hyundai Elantra. While authorities did not go into specifics on how this agent died, they say that his injuries were consistent with blunt force trauma, and anyone with information is urged to contact police. Sierra?
Thanks.
It's interesting that they won't say how he died or under what circumstances. That is it normal for a parole officer to go to your home?
On yesterday, May 31st.
All right. We heard your press conference. Don't need to hear it again. Yeah, here's a photo of him. I think this is a man found dead at Chevy Chase home. I think this might be the parole officer. Let me just double check before I misname him. I don't know, it doesn't say. But if that is him, that's interesting. It says Sewell was on mandatory release after serving 25 out of 29 years on his sentence. He was due to come off of the conditions on his release in October 2025, so he still had about a year and a half left. It says Montgomery County officials said he had at least one other agent before having Martinez as his agent. Interesting. I don't really understand that. Is it normal for them to go to people's homes? Normally with a parole officer, you sort of go into an office and you speak to them like once a week. I didn't know that they actually visit people's property. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it. So they do go to people's homes. Oh, that must be so freaking dangerous. You're visiting literally people who have been charged with like the worst of the worst crimes and have now been given parole and now have to adjust to society. That's a really dangerous job. They can show up at your home. Is it just to check that you're not doing drugs and crime and things at your home and that you live where you say you live, that type of thing? Yeah, that's right. Danny, you said you're a probation officer for a while. Don't know what you are now. Apparently you're a giant Akita dog. I don't know how you got into that career, but Marylander says, I would hate being married to a cop. I think anyone who works in any sort of police, probation, any type of officer who works with the law, it's a dangerous freaking job every day. It doesn't matter who it is. Unannounced visits. In Australia, they do it a little bit differently. We have probation officers, but it's more like you just go in and see them. The cops, the police here actually do the visits. They will come to your home at random times, even 2 a.m. in the morning, and they'll bang on your door and they'll ask to be let in. Part of your parole is that you must let them in, and they'll literally rummage through your home and make sure there's no drugs, no alcohol, whatever other parts of your parole it is, and they'll make sure you don't have any people in your home that you're not supposed to have in there, and they'll go through your phone, make sure you haven't been dealing drugs or whatever. They just rock up randomly. Can be anywhere from, I think it's anywhere from 7 a.m. in the morning to like 5 a.m. in the morning or something like that. It's like almost 24 hours. They can just bust into your home and ask to come in. And yeah, so I've actually witnessed it. There's a person that used to live in my apartment block that was on parole, and the cops used to come here all the time looking for them, like all the time. Every Sunday morning we'd hear donk 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 donk, rah, 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 let us in, and then it was like 6:30 in the morning on a Sunday, and then we'd look down the hallway, and there was all these SWAT people like in SWAT uniforms, and they were just doing parole check. So luckily they don't live here anymore. They moved out. I don't know where they went, but thank God they don't live here anymore. Beth B, hey, how are you, my sweet friend? How are you? To see if you've been on SA sites too, depending on your crimes. Oh yes, to see if you've been looking up any pedophilia type stuff. Yep, I gotcha. Oh, by the way, I know I'll deal with that later. That's okay. I saw Beth B and then I was like, I wanted to say something, but I'll do it later. Let's go back to true crime. That is really sad though. That guy was just trying to do his job. The fact that this guy already had one parole officer before this one, I don't know what happened there. They just said that he did have an original guy and now he changed to this fella, and he was killed. Blunt force trauma, which sounds like almost like he was beat to death after he stepped foot in that home. So maybe he was doing something he shouldn't have been, and he was like, "Oh crap, my parole officer is here," and then freaked out. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. All right. Oh, they're doing the third annual. I don't know. Let's have a talk about something for a second. So, CrimeCon's on this weekend, yes? Everyone's at CrimeCon. Trisha's at CrimeCon. We had CrimeCon less than like, what was it, like 6 months ago? They had it in September last year, yeah? How can you have a Clue Awards, which is like their award thing for true crime? How can you have a Clue Awards after only 6 months? You just announced a set of winners late last year. So you haven't even had a full production cycle to have more people nominated. It's really weird. I don't know how they do that with CrimeCon because like I don't understand. It's not like a full, like when you have the Oscars or whatever, it runs for a full cycle, 12 months. People have chance to make their shows or whatever, get them published, get the reviews in, send out screener copies or stuff like that, get people to you know view your material. But this is like under 6 months, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sure. Let's hand out another set of awards when the other ones are not even cold yet. They're not even cold. People are still celebrating their win in September. I find that bizarre. All right, who won? Let's have a look. I want to have a quick look. Did Cold Justice even get nominated for best TV series? Let's have a look. Outstanding docu-series. Who won? Dateline won. The Dateline won outstanding docu-series for the Murdoch murders inside the investigation, produced by Dateline NBC. Outstanding episodic series was Me Hereafter on Hulu, produced by ABC News and Committee Films. Book of the year was Trail of the Lost, the relentless search to bring home the missing hikers of the Pacific Crest Trail. I don't know that one. That's an interesting book. And then outstanding documentary film was Cyberbunker, The Criminal Underworld, Netflix. I haven't watched that one yet, but I should. And then outstanding episodic series was Untold Stories, Black and Missing, produced by Black and Missing Enterprises. A lot of smaller named podcasts and things this year. Not as many big name sort of ones. Outstanding podcast docu-series was Someone Knows Something, produced by CBC Podcast, so a Canadian one. People's Choice Creator of the Year, A Date with Dateline hosts Kimberly Arnold and Katie Mitchell. That's who won that. Crime Weekly hosts. Oh, Body Bags with Scott Morgan was nominated for People's Choice Creator of the Year. How did that not win? Joseph Scott Morgan's amazing. But these ladies are pretty good too. Kimberly Arnold and Katie Mitchell are pretty damn good. All right, there's your winners from the Clue Awards from tonight. Beth B said maybe CrimeCon is just focused on making money. Yeah. Yeah. You might be right. All right. I believe you. I believe you, Danny. Hey, Peekaboo. How are you? I know. I like Joseph too. You know, I felt like such a famous person when he followed me on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, he followed me on Twitter. Joseph Scott Morgan should always win. I love his voice. I know. He he is a great speaker, tells a great story. I think if you want to learn about storytelling, he's a great person to listen to. He's really good at unfolding a set of details or facts and then letting you sort of help find the answer as he goes along before he tells you the answer. He's very good at it. Great guy. Yeah, he's one of my favorites too. I like him. Yeah, I hope one day when we're a little bigger, I'll be able to use my connections to bring him on here every now and then. Maybe we'll see. He probably won't come on here until we have many thousands of subscribers. I think has to make it work for him too. Have to give him something in return, like new listeners to his Body Bag podcast or something. But I like him. I love Joseph. All right, let's get to some more true crime. All right, well that was interesting, sorta. What else have we got? Actually, I had something from last night in Australia. If I can grab my link from here. We had a couple of breaking stories down here. There was a murder in Sydney last night. Although you probably say, which one, Ping? Which one? And I'd say one of them. Sydney has a murder most nights. Was it this one? Actually, this was one from the other day. I don't think we ended up doing it because we did so many stories out of Phoenix, Arizona. But I wanted to show it to you anyway. Here. Remains found in Flagstaff identified as missing Phoenix man. Human remains that were found at the base of Mount Eldon in northern Arizona have been identified as a Valley man who was reported missing over 7 years ago. The skeletal remains were found by a hiker on November 2nd, 2019, in a wooded area at the base of the mountain. Investigators were initially unable to identify the remains. Last year, a DNA profile of the remains was developed and compared to existing profiles in genealogy databases. Mark Doon, who was reported missing by his family members to Phoenix police in March 2017, was identified as a potential match. A DNA sample was collected from the remains and then was compared to that of a living family member. That testing, completed by the University of North Texas, along with additional investigation by detectives, indicated the remains were those of Doon. Investigators say evidence at the scene where the remains were found suggests he'd been camping in the area for an extended period of time. His cause of death is unknown. That is very sad, but at least he can be returned to his family, right? After sitting out in the wilderness for years, at least 2 years he was out in the wilderness. Let's see if we can find anything else about him. Here, 13 News. Maybe they can tell us more.
Mendocino County Sheriff's Office has identified remains found at the base of Mount Eldon in Flagstaff as Mark Dunn. Dunn was reported missing from Phoenix in 2017. His remains were discovered by a hiker in a heavily wooded area in 2019. Last year, the Sheriff's Office started to develop a DNA profile and search other databases, and it led them to his family, and they were able to get a positive match. It is still not clear how he died.
All right, sorry. It's Dunn, not Dune. His name is spelled like that. It has it's Dunne. So it's not spelled in the traditional way you'd think of Dunn. But fair enough, that's how you pronounce it. You want to give him respect to his name as a deceased person. Yeah, I've got to work with him a tiny bit when I was at Web Sleuth on and off. Not directly, but I know a little bit about Joe, and I know a little bit about him from some behind the scenes stuff. He's a very good guy. Very, very good guy. Danny says, I went to college in Flagstaff. Did you? Is it a party town? Do they do a lot of drinking there? Ambery, hey Ambery, how are you? Yeah, to die at the base of the mountain, not be discovered for how long? Like 2 years? His family members reported him missing in March 2017. His remains weren't found until November 2nd, 2019. So at least a couple of, 18 months to 2 years he was out there. And then it took another 5 years for them to develop a DNA profile to be able to match it. Hold on. Sorry. Still got a little bit of a cough, so I had to cough. It's cold, is it? No. Arizona? Hold on. Oh, it does get quite cold. It's 17 degrees right now in Flagstaff, Arizona. It gets down overnight to single digits in Celsius. So it gets down to about 6 overnight, which is about the temperature here in winter. Right now in Australia, overnight it gets down to about 3-4 degrees overnight, and during the day it's about 10 or low teens. So right now, but it says it gets up during the day into 27 degrees, 25 degrees, 28 degrees. At night it can get down to low single digits, or it can be as high as 12 degrees. So yeah, it gets quite warm during the day, cold at night. Sounds about right for a deserty type of area. A lot of sand does that. So, well, Jojo says, when I was young, if someone moved to Flagstaff, it wasn't a good thing. Lots of drugs 20 years ago. No clue about now. It's much cooler than Phoenix. Phoenix is like a freaking sweatbox, man. I've been there a couple of times. It's not desert, no. I thought all of Arizona is a desert. I just assume it's just all sand. Entire of Arizona, just sand. It's just sand and tribal land. What do they call it? Nah, native land. Like you can't park on it. I had a friend down there, right? Parked on the wrong place, and their police or whatever they call it, not like the PD, their police, like they have these First Nation people that have their own like sort of people who will fine you and stuff for coming onto their land. And he got fined for parking in the wrong place, and then they yelled at him and told him to go away. They were like, "Here's your fine, pay it, and never park here ever again." And I was like, "Oh, that's I didn't even know they could do that." Oh, reservation. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, so apparently you can't even park at some places without permission, and it's very touchy. They're very touchy about it. Oh, frost at the moment in Victoria, 0 to 1 overnight. Is it? Was it that cold last night? It's showing here only 8 degrees overnight, which is actually pretty warm for winter. And during the week, it's showing 10, 11, 9, 8. So not as cold as it can be. In winter, it can get down to like 0 in Melbourne overnight. Okay, that's not for me. All right, let's go to another Another story. By the way, I don't think I have any update. A couple people messaged me about the woman who gave birth. I don't have any update on her, I don't think. I'll have a quick look, but I haven't seen anything in a number of days now. In a number of days, there hasn't been an update. Almost like they're just sort of waiting for her to come forward if she wants to. Yes, so it looks like there's been no update in about 3 days since they updated the information that the baby was a little boy. There's not really been anything else. Sharon says I'm in the country. Yeah, so it's probably freezing out in the flats or like out west or whatever. It's probably freezing out there. All right. Yep. So no update about that. I'm sorry. Hopefully she comes forward. Hopefully she is healthy and the baby's doing okay too. That would be nice. We always want a healthy baby. No, we don't need convicted sex offenders. Let's see what else we've got on the list. Oh, this is an interesting one. Police in Arkansas have arrested a 49-year-old man who allegedly flew a 15-year-old girl to California for sex. Okay. Another one? They're getting very brazen. We've read about a few of these before. Here is a photo of him. Here, Sean, what's his name? Sean Schleiman? Here, it says a Fort Smith man has been arrested for allegedly engaging in an online relationship with a 15-year-old female from California. There's a photo of him. On Friday, May 31st, the Fort Smith Police Department, hereinafter titled FSPD, was contacted by law enforcement officials from the state of California regarding an investigation involving a 49-year-old Fort Smith resident, Sean Robert Shyman, according to a news release. Shyman allegedly bought a plane ticket for a 15-year-old female from California to Arkansas, where he then picked her up at Northwest Arkansas National Airport, XNA. The investigation by the Fort Smith Police Department and the U.S. Marshals to locate both individuals followed, leading to him and the minor being found at a Fort Smith residence. Oh my God. It says he was then transported to Sebastian County Adult Detention Center and now faces charges including sexual assault, internet stalking of a child, and 2 counts of possession of child abuse material. He currently has just over $100,000 bond and will go to court for his first 4 charges on June 5th. He will also go to court for a contempt willful disobedience charge on June 4th, the day before. The investigation remains ongoing and FSPD will be collaborating with California authorities to explore additional potential charges against him, according to the news release. What the hell? There's a photo of Mr. Sean who likes to fly 15-year-old girls out from California to Arkansas and apparently abuse them. This is disgusting. This is not the first one we've heard of them using public transport. There was one we read about a couple of months ago where he rented an Uber, and did he take it from Seattle all the way to Michigan? And then they found her in Michigan. Like, that's brazen, right? Shouldn't not this one was an airplane. One, how did a 15-year-old get on an airplane without a chaperone? And because she's still a child. Two, the other one that I just spoke about, shouldn't any type of rideshare be asking, like, where are your parents? Where is there an adult? You're not supposed to be able to send children in rideshare by themselves. They stopped doing that a number of years ago, but seems it still happens. They can fly alone. What's the age in America that you can fly without either a stewardess being with you? Do you know? Does anyone know what the age is? I know in Australia, I think it's a little older. Might be 12 or something. Hold on. here. Unaccompanied minors traveling on flights. Here, let's have a look. It says if you're booking flights for a child, yeah, it's 12. Under the age of 12, they must be accompanied by a guardian who is aged 15 years or older. You can have a guardian who is 15? Like what, an older sibling? Traveling on an adult fare. If the child is traveling alone, they must be registered as an unaccompanied minor. There you go. See, it doesn't. That's interesting. Find out how to register an unaccompanied minor. Important if your child is traveling with a passenger aged between 12 and 14, this passenger is not a suitable guardian, even if an adult fare is booked. Therefore, the child must still be registered as an unaccompanied minor. Jetstar doesn't offer an unaccompanied minor service. So apparently, I think you can only send them on Qantas in Australia. So there you go. There are networks of people who will help out to allow children to be unaccompanied. I know some airlines actually have specified people who will get on the flight or are designated to mind children on a flight if they have to. Oh, have fun, Marilyn. You go, girl. Jojo says I had to pay a chaperone for my niece each way when she was 13. Interesting. It's about $100 each way. That is very interesting. Thank you, Jojo. Well, I guess maybe she was just outside of the age limit at 15, but still, she's still a child. It doesn't matter. She's not 18. She's not 21. So, I find that interesting that that's legally able to just be like, hey, jump on a flight, go to Arkansas to a guy you've never met before. Let's see what else we have. I don't think I have too much more on him though. Sean Robert Shyman. Let's have a look. Weird. My cat's drinking water and I was like, it sounds like running water. All right. It was only 5 hours ago that they put out this press release, apparently, from the Fort Smith Police Department here. They arrested in connection with sexual abuse, internet stalking, and possession of child abuse material. I really hope the child abuse material is not from the 15-year-old girl that they found with him at a home in Fort Smith. I don't hope it's any child, but I hope he had not been filming her. Wait, did he have a sexual abuse charge? Let's have a look. Yeah, sexual assault. So that doesn't possess well for this charge. Possession of child sexual abuse material. Ugh. That poor girl. It says him and the juvenile were located at his residence in Fort Smith. He was transported to the police headquarters where he was interviewed. Following the interview, he was placed under arrest and transported to the Adult Detention Center on charges of sexual assault, fourth degree, internet stalking of a child, 2 counts of possession of CSAM. Oh yeah, we have to say that word. We can't say the other one anymore. The investigation is ongoing with the FSPD continuing to gather evidence and statements related to the incident. Coordination with authorities in California is underway to address further potential charges against him. Additional appropriate support and resources are being provided for the juvenile, including contacting Child Protective Services and her family in California. They said, we would like to thank our investigators, law enforcement partners in California, and the U.S. Marshal Service for their work in ensuring the safe recovery of the juvenile and the apprehension of the suspect. Here's a photo of this guy's ugly mug. There you go. We should have minimums for any type of sexual crime against children. It should just be like a flat 20 years. There should be like no first offense. It should just be like you hurt children, it's like 20 years in jail. Just bang. First go. You don't get a try again or whatever. I agree with you. Like Chad, he does have a potato head like Chad. Danny Mitchell, that is very kind of you. I very much appreciate it. Even though you did one just last night. So I appreciate that, buddy. Hold on. Let me see what sticker it is. I have to go into the other panel. He did the money, what do you call it? Emoji face. Very good, Danny. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's very kind. It's fun seeing those pop up in the chat now. Yes, I do remember when you used to, you're not the only person who used to try and speak to Nightbot. It's so funny. There was so many people in the Web Sleuths chat who tried to talk to Nightbot. They would just be like, "Oh, thanks, Nightbot, for the information." I was like, "It's a bot. It's not a real person." And I would tell them, and I would go, "Great, now they know." And they'd come in the next week and they'd do the same thing again. They'd be like, "Oh, hi, Nightbot. It's good to have you here." And I was like, it's literally a program. It's a computer. It's not a person. I don't know. Some people just never got it. Yes, it's for Stephanie. I don't know where she is tonight. I spoke to her yesterday. I don't know what she's up to tonight. And a tattoo across the head as a warning to as a warning to others. Just put like pedo in like red ink on the forehead. Like big block letters. Yeah, I don't think it was just you. There was a couple other people that like religiously did it for over a year, and I kept telling them, and then yeah. Oh, she's got a headache. Oh, okay. I don't know. I spoke to her yesterday. I was talking to her about CrimeCon, but I haven't seen her since. All right, let's keep going. What time is it? It's 2 o'clock. We've been on about an hour so far. That's not bad. It's not bad for a Saturday night. It's a shame. I really miss Cold Justice because we'd have many cases to work with tonight, but we don't. Actually, I'll do the one that DJ sent me. Where's your email, DJ? All right, fine. We can do this one. So this is the one that DJ sent me. He sent me this one. Mystery as Texas soldier is found murdered in locked bedroom in her off-base apartment. Is her name Katia Aguilar, 23, was found 8:30 p.m. in a locked bedroom on May 18th. The discovery was made by a friend at her apartment in Clarksville, Tennessee. And it says a female Fort Campbell soldier has been found dead in her off-base residence, triggering a murder investigation. It says the private first class was found around 8:30 p.m. in a locked bedroom at her Tennessee residence on May 18th. Detectives believe that the young mother had been killed. An investigation is now underway with a $55,000 reward being offered by the private's family. Her killer remains at large. Here's a photo of her. And there's her with a little child. Is that her child? It doesn't say, but there's her with a little baby. Looks like a great soldier. So the family added in an additional statement, we want to know what happened, who did it, and we want to make sure that person or people are brought to justice. Meanwhile, her sister, a mum of one, was not so happy while stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky, right across the border, telling her local CBS affiliate in Texas, she would already tell me that she was not happy over there. I wanted her to come back so we could make more memories. Not offering any more detail, she asked for help in finding the person who killed her at her Clarksville apartment a few miles from her base. She joined the Army in 2018, completed basic training and advanced individual training at Fort Eisenhower. She was then assigned to the 101 Airborne Division, which is Air Assault Combat Aviation Brigade, whose Lieutenant Colonel issued a statement to the military.com in the wake of the discovery. They say, "We are stunned by the death of PFC, is it Duenes Aguilar? The brigade spokesman said, "In the meantime, we will continue to cooperate with the Army and local investigative authorities on this matter." They said during that span, she also fathered a 4-year-old son, but as her sister mentioned, had also may have been planning to leave the Army. Reports indicate she gave birth while still stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky, located a 40-minute drive from her apartment in Clarksville, Tennessee. As of writing, it remains unclear who the father is. Police have yet to issue a statement as to a suspect. It sounds all a little weird. How do they not have any idea? Hold on, let me look up her name. And let's see if they can pronounce it better than I can. Ping will never be a Texan. I can't pronounce any Spanish, and my pronunciation of town names is terrible. Let's see. 8 hours ago, she was laid to rest today in a funeral, according to the news here on Friday, apparently. Let me grab a video for it. There's two I want to play. I want to play this one about her funeral and then a different one.
And a Fort Campbell soldier will be laid to rest tomorrow. It was earlier this month that 23-year-old Katia Duenas Aguilar was found murdered in a home on Tiny Town Road in Clarksville. And she was an information technology specialist. She grew up in Mesquite, Texas. And it was earlier this week when Clarksville police announced their special homicide unit and Army CID special agents are actively following leads now in the investigation. In fact, a Latino civil rights organization and Aguilar's family, they're offering a $55,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. So if you know anything that could help investigators, call the Clarksville Montgomery County Crime Stoppers tip line 931-645-8477.
Sorry, I was trying to load the next video and it didn't want to come up. Don't know what's going on. I tried to switch it over and it's playing silly buggers. It doesn't want to turn on. WFAA. Okay, maybe they have a better video. Yes, here we go. Have to grab it from a different source, unfortunately. So there's a bit of background on it. Reward for information in the murder of North Texas soldier killed out of state raised to $55,000. That's a pretty decent reward for this kind of case so quickly. That's pretty good. I think we've seen a lot less. Like there was a case in Texas, someone was shot and killed, and they're like, "We've raised $2,500 for a reward." No one ever called in with any information. It just was a small reward. Here, I'll play this video.
The reward to help solve the killing of a young soldier in Tennessee was just raised to $55,000. Private First Class Katia Duenas Aguilar grew up in North Texas. Police found her body in an apartment in Clarksville, Tennessee, just a few miles from Fort Campbell, where she was part of the Army's 101st Airborne Division. Today, her mother and LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, spoke about the investigation at a news conference in Dallas, urging the public to share information that could help police solve the case. Now, this week, WFAA sat down with Katia's mother and sister. They say she had plans to return home to Mesquite after 6 years of military service. They say they talked frequently with her, but about a month before her death, she stopped calling. Local police and the Army are investigating her death as a homicide.
Don't they have their own internal police that sort of investigate this type of thing? Like military police that do murder investigations of any kind of military member? I thought they did. Or is that only if it occurs on military property. I'm not sure, but I know they do have their own investigative branches. I just don't know how that applies to her being killed off campus at her own, property. But it's interesting that what did DJ say? DJ added some notes for me. Where is it? What did DJ say? I don't think there's anything new in. Okay, he's saying just about the funeral on Friday. Okay, thank you, DJ. In a locked bedroom. So it means someone must have had access to that property. And I'm guessing her apartment had no forced entry. So someone she must have known. It must have been someone who she knew and felt comfortable with. Yeah, that is a lot of rain. It's a lot of rain on the thing. Yes, each branch does. Thanks. 55 grand, it's not bad, right? It's pretty decent chunk of money. Oh, do you think Barry Morphew was ever going to pay out that $200,000 or whatever it was? Do you really believe it? I think he just said it because I have to be careful what I say, but I think he said it because he knew it may never be claimed. Allegedly, according to whatever court of Colorado and their jurisdiction of whatever. Yeah, there's been some crazy rain, especially down south. It's been a little bad for people down there. I know that some people down there have had like water up to their windows or up to their doors. I mean, that is a crap load of water to have come in. All right, I don't have much more on her. That's a sad case. We had that other one the other month of that he was a military member and he was shot at his property because a cop was banging on the door of the wrong apartment and the guy inside was pretty scared because he didn't know who was at his door. He had his firearm, I think it was his issued firearm, and he had it and the cop thought he had a gun and was going to shoot him. So the cop killed him. I mean, it was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Actually, we have a new update on Kojikari. So last week we had one about the mom. So now about the stepfather. Let me see if I can find it. Apparently he's been found guilty too. Verdict. So I like when we get another verdict. That's always good. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Today, as a jury decides the fate of Christopher Palmer, the stepfather of Madalena Kojikari. He stood trial this week on a charge of failing to report the girl missing. This was the moment that verdict was read.
Your foreperson has reported to the court she found the defendant, Christopher James Palmer, in 22 CR 366223, guilty of failure to report disappearance of a child to law enforcement. Was this your verdict, sociology? Yes. You may see.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us on a very busy Friday. I'm Siobhan Bryan.
And I'm Jamie Bull. There is a lot to get to. In fact, the next 5 minutes, that's all going to be breaking news for you tonight.
So now let's get right to our Cam Gaskins live outside the Mecklenburg County Courthouse in Uptown Charlotte, where this trial has been playing out all week.
So Cam, we heard the arguments, the closing arguments from both sides earlier today. That took up a lot of the morning. But what's interesting here is when they wrapped up, the jury only deliberated for a short time. Walk us through that and what this decision now means for Palmer.
Yeah, Jamie and Siobhan. So the timeline here is around 12:49 is when closing arguments wrapped up. That's when the jury was handed the case and dismissed to deliberate. It took them only about 20 minutes or less than 20 minutes to hand in that guilty verdict. So a very quick decision from all 12 jurors in this case. Now, the defense in their closing arguments tried to argue that Palmer was being manipulated and that Diana Kojikari was intentionally hiding Madalena from him and not telling him where she was. Whereas the state came back and argued that didn't matter. It was still his responsibility as her guardian to know she was missing and report that to the authorities, and that he failed to do so. And the jury ended up agreeing with the state in these arguments. Now, failure to report a missing child is listed as a Class I felony in North Carolina, which is the lowest classification of felony in the state. And Palmer had 0 points on his previous record, leading the judge to sentence him to 30 months of supervised probation on top of fines for court costs and attorney's fees. Now, just a few moments ago, we tried to speak with Palmer as he exited the Mecklenburg County courthouse. Here's what that scene looked like.
Before we play that next bit, they still haven't found that young girl. Madalena Kojakari is still missing. Many years later, many twists and turns in the court case between the mum and the stepfather, and, you know, they still don't know where that little girl is. You know, great, they found him guilty or whatever. He got suspended sentence and like a couple of fines or something for not reporting her missing. Where's the girl? Where's the little girl? Like, does no one care? You're like, oh, great, the procedural, you know, administrative stuff is done, and, you know, we'll get these two out of the system. But the little girl is still missing. To this day, they don't know where she is. There's still a little girl out there who is not accounted for. It's really stupid. I guess they got some form of justice here. It doesn't mean they can't be charged with other crimes in the future. This is just about failing to report her missing. So if they ever find her dead or alive and there's other crimes there, I guess they can probably charge them again with more crimes. Lillian Gale doesn't come to this channel. Sarah Allen doesn't come to this channel either, but Kathy Lynch does. Kathy Lynch, I don't know where she is, but she may, being that CrimeCon is in Nashville, maybe she went to go see Trish, which I wouldn't be surprised if she did. She loves Trish, so oh my god, Rory, stop. Marlene says it's like beating a dead horse, they will never talk. No, but they got to find other avenues to find out what happened to that little girl. Have not seen Lillian in ages. I hope she's healthy. I hope she's okay. Her and her wife are two of the most lovely people, like very generous, very sweet people. I used to love talking to them on Web Sleuths. They were lovely people. Yeah, this is a very sad case. I just don't know how you have a little girl who's still out there and people, you know, just care about getting them for this. She was 11 years old when she went missing in November 2022 from Cornelius. Now it's 2024 now, so she'd be 13, maybe 14 now. So she's getting on in her age and no one has seen her. So what does that tell you? She ain't hiding somewhere. She's probably, you know, hold on. Sorry. Rory, get down, girl. Yeah, that Lillian and Nancy, they're very kind people. What? Oh, you're at the bar. You're at a bar. Okay, have fun at the bar. Say hi to your guy. The guy. The man. The guy. Alright, let's see if we have any other news for your faces. Attempted homicide suspect on the loose. Oh, we like that. Let's talk about it. Attempted homicide suspect. I want to see that.
With the urgent search for a suspect who escaped police custody. Officers in Monroe tell us at this moment they are still looking for this man right here on your screen, 42-year-old Cleveland Waters. He is wanted for attempted murder. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King is live in Monroe. Anna, what can you tell us as far as how this all happened?
Well, this all started yesterday morning around 4:30 a.m. Monroe police say they were responding to a call about a person who had been shot multiple times. Now, the person was shot in the middle of English Street and ran to where he collapsed along Winchester Avenue. The victim was transported and is expected to survive. Officials then tracked the suspect, 42-year-old Cleveland Waters, to Laughlin Road in Waxhaw. Now, before Waters was able to be booked, he escaped police custody, still wearing his handcuffs. Officials say they did a widespread search using canines and other techniques, but were unable to locate Waters. And now they're asking for the public's help. And multiple neighbors I spoke to told me they're surprised this was the commotion they heard at 4:30 yesterday morning.
Sometimes at night, firecrackers or whatever, so the noise is normal around here.
Waters now has an arrest warrant for attempted first-degree murder, possession of a firearm by a felon, and assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, among other charges. So anyone with information on where he may be is encouraged to call Union County Crime Stoppers or 911. For now, here live in Monroe, Anna King, WC.
So I have a little bit more information about this man, Mr. Cleveland Waters. It says he's a black man, last seen wearing black pants and a red shirt. He may still be in handcuffs. So he just bolted with the handcuffs on. He's considered armed and dangerous. He can't be too armed when he's handcuffed. If you see him, don't approach him and call 911 immediately. Around 4:30 a.m. on Friday, Monroe police were called to Winchester Avenue, where they found someone shot multiple times. It was determined the shooting happened in the middle of English Street, and the victim ran to where he collapsed on Winchester Avenue. The victim was taken to hospital and is expected to survive his injuries. Waters was identified as the suspect. Investigators obtained warrants on him and tracked him to a home on Laughlin Road in Warhaw in Monroe Police. So they said the Monroe Police, the Union County Sheriff's Office deputies executed a search warrant on the home and arrested him inside. Before he was able to be booked into jail, he escaped custody, still wearing his handcuffs in the area surrounding Carroll Street, Rolling Hill Drive, and King Arthur Drive. Monroe Police, with the help of Union County Sheriff's Office, conducted a widespread search of the area overnight using canines and other search techniques and technology, but were unable to find him. Detectives believe Waters has left the area. They have requested additional resources from surrounding agencies, along with state and federal agencies. Waters has active arrest warrants for attempted first-degree murder, possession of a firearm by a felon, and assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, among other charges. They're saying if there is an active ongoing investigation, if anyone has information on his whereabouts, call 911. Anonymous tips can be submitted through Union County Crime Stoppers at 704-283-5600. Citizens may be rewarded with up to $5,000 cash when providing anonymous information that helps lead to a felony arrest of criminals or fugitives. How can you stay anonymous and be given a cash reward? Do they leave it under a park bench somewhere and they're like, meet us at 2 o'clock where the ducks fly south and we will leave the cash under the park table? Is that how they do it? I don't know. Where's Mr. DJ? Yeah, I'm serious. People used to be like, "Oh my God, Nightbot, you're in every channel I go to. You work so hard," and I'm like, does that not clue you in that it might be software? Pretty funny. It's pretty funny. People are so innocent online. They just think everyone is a person. It's cute. All right, there you go. So if you see Mr. Cleveland Waters, call it in. He may or may not have handcuffs on still. You would think that would draw attention from people. And from what I understand, they're not easy to get off either. You're going to need some pretty hardcore tools to try and cut it off. They're not easy to break. So either he'll have two new very shiny bangles on each wrist, after he cuts the chain, or he'll have to somehow cut them off with a grinder, an angle grinder or something like that. Keys, but he doesn't have the keys. The cops have the keys. Unless you can buy them from somewhere. It is pretty funny. Yeah, they were doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I think the conversation when that is located in the Arizona documents says a lot. You know, that woman that can do earthquakes or whatever, she texted Chad and she's like, "Oh my god, there was an earthquake in Peru today. Do you think I caused that?" And then he writes back, "Oh yes, you're a very powerful being," or something. I mean, oh my god, it's like, yeah, okay, sure. Have fun with your earthquake inducing something, whatever causes it. Yeah, Zulema, that's it. That's her name. I mean, her testimony too was, I don't know if I believe everything she says. Just my opinion. I think she tried to downplay a lot of what she said to remove her own involvement. I mean, she did incriminate herself a little bit, but some things she was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I just met these people." There could have been more charges, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that Kojikari thing, I don't know what's next. I don't know, but they've got to find her. I think that really is the be and end all of it. They've got to find a new lead that can help them locate where that girl is or what happened to her. Something that'll provide solid evidence of where she is or what happened to her. She was a cute little girl too. Let's see if I can find a photo of her. There. There she is, when she was before she went missing. Very, very cute little girl. There's a few people in the daybell trial that probably should be behind bars that are not named Chad or Laurie. Just my opinion. You know, I really like the Karen Reed trial, and I sort of like following it for my own personal, not enjoyment, just for information and how this might play out. But there is so many crazy people involved in that trial. It is really hard to do, in my opinion, a lot of content on it because you're either going to attract crazy people from one side or crazy people from the other side, and you're never going to make each of them happy. And all you're going to do is invite a whirlwind of crazy to your channel. So, as much as I'd really like to cover it, and I am interested in it, there's a lot of people pretending to be helpful or experts in this matter, and all they're doing is creating divide or drama, that type of thing. I think we're just gonna have to let this one play out and see what happens. I would like to cover it maybe when we get a bit closer. Angela says, "Is that the policeman in the snow?" Yes, it is, but there's just so much toxicity and just sludge involved in this case. You're either with her, you're either against her, you're either with this part of the town or that part of the town. You're either a liar or, it's just, you're either with this conspiracy that the town is a cover up and that the police, are out there covering up a murder. And it's really crazy. It's really. Thanks, Ambery. I appreciate it. I try and stay away. I try and stay away from as much drama as I can. I just don't want it. I have no appetite for it. All right. Even though I do like the case itself. Hold on. I guess we could do. Hold on, what is this? Oh, sorry. The Daily Mail likes to put a lot of really random articles on their front page. Police found woman dead inside Statesville home. What does that mean? Shelby, 33. It says here, police woman found dead inside Statesville home. Shelby Smith, 33, was identified as the victim. Is it Mecklenburg? We've been in this county before. Let's see.
Investigators in Statesville are now investigating the death of a 33-year-old woman. Police say they responded to Hickory Avenue around 4 this morning and found Shelby Smith in her home. They also say the Violent Crimes Unit responded to the scene, as well as the State Bureau of Investigations, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward or call Statesville Police.
All right, let's have a look at this. What is it? A woman was found dead inside her Statesville home on Saturday morning, according to police department. Shelby Smith, 33, was identified as a victim. Police say they found Smith around 4 a.m. inside her house along Hickory Avenue on Wilson Lee Boulevard. Investigating how she died is ongoing. Anyone with information is urged to call the Statesville Police Department. Shelby Smith was a victim. Well, they've identified her as a victim. A victim of what is the answer? Is the question. This was 4 hours ago. Queen City News. Yeah. A death investigation is underway after a woman was found deceased in her home. Around 4 a.m., officers responded to a call regarding a deceased person inside a residence in the 500 block of Hickory Avenue. Upon arrival, officers discovered Shelby Smith, 33, of Statesville, deceased at the scene. Statesville Police Violent Crime Unit responded to the scene and began an investigation into her death. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations is also investigating the incident. Anyone with information is urged to contact the police department at 704-878-3516. They're saying this is a developing story and they will provide more information. Yeah, we had this story yesterday, though. I just saw an update on it. It was this one. Cynthia Sydney Robertson Gobble, 60, of Moxville. Remember this one yesterday? It was a kidnapping /M/S. And they think this is the main perpetrator on the left here. Let me see if there's an update on this. Cynthia Gobble. 11 hours ago. It was. They've now confirmed that was this thing here. Let me blow that up for you. This word here. Can't say it anymore on the channel, but you guys know what it means. It seemed like that. I mean, what else could it be? Judging from the details. It says investigators have confirmed that the death of a Davie County woman who went missing earlier this week was the result of an M-S. At around 10 p.m. on Wednesday, authorities say they came to do a welfare check on Cindy Robertson Gobble, 60, of Moxville, at a home on the 300 block of Country Lane. Family members reported that they had not been able to contact her since late that afternoon. Investigators say that she was in the process of an ongoing separation and divorce from Gregory Wayne Gobble, 59, of the same town. There's a photo of him on the left there. Deputies at the scene confirmed that she was not at the home and found evidence that she had not left on her own. Family members said it was odd for her to be out of touch for so long and that her personal belongings were found in her vehicle. Investigators and family members checked locations where both Cynthia and Gregory were known to frequent and made electronic attempts to contact them both, but to no avail. Deputies were not able to locate Gregory's white Ford truck, although they were able to confirm that he was driving that truck earlier on Wednesday. Both of them were entered as missing persons, and a law enforcement alert went out for them and the white Ford truck. On Thursday, investigators searched the Country Lane home as they continued their efforts to find the missing pair. An Ashanti alert was issued for Cynthia, with Gregory being identified as the suspect in her disappearance. On Friday, the county sheriff's office got a call about 2 bodies that were found just over the county line off Sheffield Road in a wooded area. Investigators from both counties determined that the bodies were those of Cynthia and Gregory Goebel. Both of them died as a result of gunshot wounds, and the weapon was found at the scene. Investigators say that Gregory shot and killed Cynthia before fatally shooting himself. Deputies say they are not searching for any other people or suspects involved in the case, and there is no continuing danger to the public. There you go. So there's the update on that one. They have now confirmed that to be a, you know, Susan Morphew. Well, if they actually arrest someone over it, it'll go back, it'll skyrocket to #1 on the charts of true crime people. There's got to be some movement in the case. Hold on, let me have a look. I don't think there has been, but I'll have a look. No, I don't see any update since they released her autopsy. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's try and get to 1,000. Hello to the 6 or so people who subscribed in the last day or so. Thank you very much. They must have heard my plea for the 50 something percent of people who watch this channel are not subscribed. It would be nice to have them as subscribers. I think it's named after someone, probably a missing person. Yeah, it would be nice, but I think because of what happened in the first time they tried to charge Barry over it, they have to be so careful this time. They can't be seen to mess it up like they did the first time. So this time the case has to be watertight. They have to have everything, all their T's crossed and their I's dotted, and it has to be watertight, that case. They can't afford to screw up again. So yeah, it's going to take a while. I think we will eventually get the result that I think we all want, but it's just going to be a little bit of time. It's just going to be a little while. All right. You're eating the donut? They probably not. They probably don't taste any good. Yeah, I wouldn't eat that. It's yucky. Hold on. All right. Sorry, I had to take care of that. By the way, I have a message here from my friend Siana. Siana says, "Hello, Ping and Mrs. Ping. Thank you both for your hard work putting this channel out for all of us. I appreciate you both. Both of you get well soon." Yeah, she came down with a bit of a sore throat today, so I hope she hasn't caught what I had for the last week. So we'll see. Is your throat still sore? Do you feel sick? You got that weird feeling like when you know you're sick? Hmm. I told you, like, you got to be careful. Maybe I should have wore a mask while I was sick. A gas mask. Yeah, so apparently she may have caught what I had for the last week. She woke up this morning with like a really bad sore throat, and that's what I had about a week ago. I was like, really? I don't think I'd be contagious over. Like I got sick not last week, like a few days ago, not that Thursday. It was the Thursday before. That's when I first got symptoms. So I was like, I don't think I'm contagious over 10 days later, but maybe I am. Uh, yeah, hopefully she feels better. She's got enough on her plate to worry about than having to be sick. Uh, Little Miss Sharon says, I have faith Barry will make it back behind bars again. Keep the faith, Sharon. Keep the faith. Sharing is normally caring. Oh my god. Yeah, everyone's saying feel better. Yeah, she's a bit scratchy this morning. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, please, I hope you don't have what I had. That thing sucks so much. That cold or flu or whatever I had, it hit me literally like I felt like I woke up one morning and I just felt like I'd been hit by a truck. I couldn't walk. Like just taking steps felt like my legs were weighed down with bricks. It was awful. Cheer No More says, I just called him a Fruit Loop coward head. Is that Barry, do you mean, or Chad Daybell? Both qualify as Fruit Loop coward head. All right. Look, I think we're gonna wrap up for this Saturday night. I don't know where everyone is. Where's Trish? Did she come on earlier? I didn't even get to see. I hope she's having fun at CrimeCon. Everyone, this is the closing night for CrimeCon. So after all the panels are finished for the night, I'm guessing everyone is out having a few drinks, meeting up with friends. There's a few panels on in the morning, and then they finish at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So it's an early day on the Sunday. They don't do a full thing on the Sunday. Saturday is sort of like the main show, so they should be done. Yeah, it does sound like the flu. I think that's what I had. I think I had the flu. I did a bunch of COVID tests, and each of them came back negative. Here, there's one right here. See, came back negative. I did like 4 of them. Yeah, guys. Hey, Kim, how are you? Deborah Lewis, thank you very much for your donation the other night too. I have a new video for you all. By the way, before we go, I have to address this. If you send in a donation via the PayPal or the Ko-Fi, please make sure if you want to be addressed by your chat name, that your chat name is somewhere in the message, because Ping screwed up, and it's the only way I can tell you the honest truth, is that I misassociated someone's name with a different person's chat name, and for like 3 months I put someone else's chat name on the ending video when I meant to put someone else on there, and it was only brought to my attention last night, and I went through every donation since February, and I tracked down like what was going on, and I figured it out. I've got a new system in place now, but I would like to say sorry to these people. I'd like to say sorry to my friend Penguin. Penguin, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to screw it up. Like I misassociated her with someone else because they have a very similar name. So please try and add your chat name where you can. It helps me out a lot. And another woman, I was able to see that after going through all my records, this person was never put onto the end video for the month of March. And that was very nice of this person. So I want to bring them up tonight. Their name is Margaret B. I won't give your full name out, but their name is Margaret B. So I'm sorry to those 2 people. I've rectified it, and we have a new Excel spreadsheet to keep track of everything. So, yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm only one person. I do my best. But no, mistakes should never happen. And the only thing I can say is that it's my fault and I need to do better. So I'm sorry to those 2 people. And thank you for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. I will make it up to those 2 people over the next couple of months. So here's a new ending video. Hey, I love you all. Everyone's name that I I went through everything, every bloody name for like the last couple of months. This is the last video I'm going to play for May, really. It says June on it, but this is everyone from May. And then tomorrow we'll have the brand new month, which has everyone from the 1st of June. Hey, I love you all. Thank you so much. Thanks for sticking with me. I try to bring you the best shows I can, and I can't wait till we can go to court. I'm really looking forward to going to the Supreme Court for Aaron Patterson when we get there. So, hey, good night. Have a great Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Sunday Nights with Ping. By the way, thank you to Mr. Dan Yee. Thank you very much, Mr. Dan Yee, for your super sticker. And to Sienna for her donation and very nice message. I do appreciate it. All right, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let me play you the new video. Good night, everyone. See you later.